Undefeated UFC fighters. I feel like there's fighters in the UFC who are undefeated for a good reason. Like, they're actually talented, they're actually skilled. Then I feel the opposite. I feel like there's some undefeated fighters who are winning fights, and they're not that they look bad, but I just feel like their title aspirations or their chance of being champion is just so low and non-existent. So today I'm going to be going through 10 fighters. I'm going to start at the worst undefeated fighters. I'm going to go to the best. So let's just talk about these undefeated fighters because I want to clear up some shit because some of them are gassed up, bro, way too much. And then some of them are like the next big thing. So let's get into the video. So all y'all niggas with no hairlines, strap up. Let's get into it. Starting off for the number 10 spot, I have Lon Murphy. Now, Lon Murphy, I have him towards the bottom, so I don't think he's that good, but I don't think he's bad. Let's get this straight. He's good. His best win is Dan Ige. You know, that's a good win. He also beat Edson Barboza. You know, he has some good wins on his resume. One thing I've noticed about Lerone, like his first fight in the UFC was a draw. I thought he lost it, but it was a draw. You know what I'm saying? He's good, but like he looks so beatable. It's hard to explain. I don't want to like discredit him too much. He reminds me of like a Leon Edwards, like just minus like the wrestling Leon has, because I feel like Leon's wrestling is kind of decent, but I just feel like Lon Murphy, he's very hittable. He has deficiencies in his grappling and his wrestling. You know, he showed me heart in the Dan Ige fight, but I was impressed, but I wasn't. I was like, I'm impressed, but I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, he's just not cowabunga, dude. Like, I don't know, dude. Something about him. I just feel like he's beatable. I don't know. He has like that Leon Edwards aesthetic where like, yeah, he'll win fights, but you'll get rocked by Nate Diaz. You know what I'm saying? He'll get rocked by the guys. He gets rocked every fight. Got rocked by Edson Barboza, got rocked by Ige. Like, it's a matter of time before someone like Lopez gets in the ring with him, then rocks him, he never recovers or something. I don't know. Lon Murphy, I don't want to say he's horrible because I do think he has talent. A lot of raw talent on him, but I just feel like he's very beatable as far as the rest of these undefeated fighters in the UFC concerned. So I'm going to put Lon Murphy at the number 10 spot. Coming in at the number 9, this guy I have mixed emotions about is Bo Nickel. He's 6-0, yes. People do glaze him to an extent, you know what I'm saying? But it's warranted glaze because like his background, I guess. He was really good at college wrestling. His wrestling was just crazy. Like he's one of the best freestyle wrestlers in the UFC today. Probably on the mat he beats everyone, but you know, this is MMA. And of course, his best win's probably Cody Brutnage, you know. And Val Woodburn, dude. I haven't seen the UFC, dude. Radical, dude. So, like, nah, Bo Nickel, like, 6-0, he's still green. He's still new. The Cody Brutnage fight showed that the way he got thrown off by Cody, just almost like a damn, like, really, bro? That's your best weapon. You're getting embarrassed in that. So, Nickel's good, but he's just he has a lot to work on. His striking is very herky-jerky still. Like, if you ever look at Bo Nickel's strike, you're going to notice he's, like, bouncing a lot, doing a lot of these unnecessary movements. He just caught Val Woodburn because that boy was, like, in there to get knocked out. But, yeah, poor Woodburn. But, yeah, I have mixed emotions about him. People used to compare him to Hamza Chavar. I think those comparisons are out the window. I think there's still people in the world who be like, yeah, dude, I don't know, dude. Bo Nickel runs through Hamza. Like, listen, brother, I don't know how to convince you guys. If you think that, you think it. I'm not going to try to convince you. I don't think that fight's ever going to happen. I think Bo Nickel will have to go through like Ikram Askarov or something, and that won't happen. So yeah, Bo Nickel's talented. He's very good, but you know, he's good skill-wise, talent-wise, but he has a lot to work on. So I'm going to put him number 9 because out of every undefeated fighter in the UFC, he's definitely not like the most notable, but he's not horrible. So I am going to reward him with a number 9 spot. Coming out the number 8 spot, this is someone I feel like is good, but gets a little bit too much hype. It's Michael Moraes. Now, he's 17-0. He's a good fighter. He's talented. You know, I'll give him credit there. His best win is Neil Magny. You know what I'm saying? That's a good win. You know, Neil Magny, he wins one, he loses one, he wins one, he loses one. You know, it was just destiny that Moraes wins. He won by first round finish, TKO, but you know, he's good. He has a lot of raw talent. He's a good striker. He's pretty well diverse. I feel like he's a little bit more, like, a little overhyped, though. Like, the Neil Magny fight was great, but, like, I don't know how good. Neil Magny's not bad. He'll fraud check like a Mike Malott and stuff, but I just think Michael Moraes is good enough to beat a Magny, but that's about it. That's where kind of, like, the luck stops. I do think, like, an MVP would beat him. I think, like, any decent welterweight would beat him. No offense to him. I think Sean Brady will run through him. Like, there's just people, like, on that division who I think will beat him pretty comfortably. So I'm going to say he's talented, and he does have potential. 17-0, you know, he's been around. He's been going against some people. But it's just that until he fights someone above Neil Magny, Neil Magny's the gatekeeper test. If you pass the Neil Magny test, you will be promoted. And after that, that's when we're going to see, like, real competition. So now that you pass the Neil Magny test, we're going to have to see more Moraes. I feel like he is talented, but I feel like once he gets to a certain part of welterweight, he's going to start getting beat up. But, yeah, we'll see how he looks. Listen, it's hard to interpret him, like, right away now because he still is talented. But from what I've seen is, like, he has, like, he doesn't do anything that, like, blows me out of my seat. Like, he's not really good at wrestling, not really good at striking. He's good, though. He's good at striking. He knows how to throw his hands. He has good power. But there's just more that I need to see from him before I come off with, like, a crazy, you know, conclusion. And I'm going to say he's number 8. And now we're in the top 8, so I'm going to say For number 8, this is actually he's on the more talented side. He's definitely above a Bo Nickel and like Lon Murphy as far as like I feel like he's just proven a little bit more, but he still has ways to go. Coming at the number 7 spot, I have a first fighter who's actually talented. So at this point, it's going to be talented fighters from here on out. And to start off the talent, I'm going to have Ian Gary. He's 15-0. You know what I'm saying? He's a good fighter. Listen, like him or not, he's talented. Of course, his most notable wins is MVP, Jeff Neal, and Neil Magny, of course. So he passed the Neil Magny test. He did well against Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal was very hesitant against Ian Gary, but I want to credit Ian Gary for making him hesitant, probably using his length, using his long-range weapons. He just made Jeff Neal fight at like distance. It was kind of weird. Jeff Neal was not really getting in there like he usually does. So very interesting fight. Of course, his last fight against MVP, he was saying how he's going to go in there and stay with MVP, but that just didn't happen. We knew he wasn't going to go in there and outstrike MVP. He's like, MVP style sucks. What is this? What is this? I'm going to go in there. I'm going to knock his head off. Like, no, you're not. But, like, he did show good wrestling. The third round was close because, like, he took down MVP and controlled him for a good amount of time, but he didn't really do anything with it. Didn't really land any punches, but they gave Ian Gary the fight. Listen, I'm not coping. It is what it is. But, yeah, I definitely thought that was a close fight. But even then, like, it showed that, like, if he's not able to stand with someone, he has the ability to wrestle. But what if he goes against a Shavkat? If you're not able to stand with Shavkat, you're going to try to wrestle Shavkat. I just feel like there's different levels. Like, MVP has deficiencies in his wrestling, especially defensive wrestling. So Ian Gary kind of got off the hook there. But if he goes against someone like a Usman, a Bilal, or a fucking Shavkat, I just see him struggling more. Sean Brady, too. Like, if you're getting pieced up on the feet, bro, you just got to pack it up, dog, because it's raps, man. These aren't all MVPs, man. But I will say MVP is also a really good striker. So I am going to give Ian Gary credit. Very proven, pretty good resume so far, but I am going to say he's number 7 as far as undefeated fighters are concerned. Now for the number 6 spot, I got Farid Bashra. Now people know at my channel I love him and I glaze him because I think he's talented. I think he's more raw talent than probably anyone on this list. Like straight skill for skill, he might be the best on this list. He has really good striking. He has really good counter punches. His spinning attacks are good. His timing on his takedowns are good. He's strong for 135. He's 13-0, of course. His best wins are Taylor Lapilus. He beat Damon Blackshear. You know what I'm saying? He also beat Victor Hugo in his last fight, who weighed like 145. He went in there, 10 pounds lighter, probably more than 10 pounds lighter. Like, that was just the weigh-ins. I'm sure Victor Hugo got up to like 155, 160, while fucking Farid Bashra was around 140-ish. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he gave up a lot of size, and he still showed that he could wrestle a bigger guy, a stronger guy. He could go in there, outstrike them. His counter punches were on fleek. This guy is the future. I really think in bantamweight, he's a future champion. It's a matter of time. If some fighters just a matter of time, I think Farid Bashra is a matter of time champion. So I am going to say he's a number 6, a top 6 undefeated fighter in the UFC, because why not? He's better than Ian Gary, skill for skill. And Farid Bashra has a better chance of becoming champ than Ian Gary as well. Like I said, Ian Gary 170 is like, he's not going to be Bilal, Usman, or Shavkat. I can see Farid Bashra beating anyone. The really hard fight for Farid would be a Umar Norov, but I don't even know how that fight would go. I don't even know if they'll fight each other. I don't even know what's going to happen. But that's the only fight that I see Farid Bashra struggling with, because that guy, he has aura, perfect hairline, the chest hair, you know what I'm saying? He's a man, bruh. He ain't scared of nobody. He don't duck no fade. So, yeah, Farid Bashra, I don't know how he's not ranked after beating that 140, like, fiver, who, Victor Hugo, but whatever. They're going to put him in the ranking soon. They don't like him or something. I don't know. But Farid Bashra, really good fighter, so I'm going to give him top 6 respect. Coming in at the number 5 spot, my friend, I got Shavkat Rakhmonov. And now people might be surprised that he's number 5. I think people will want him, like, top 3 or something, but he's very talented. Let's get that straight. It's just that people ahead of him, I think, are a little bit better. So, of course, he's 18-0, 18 finishes. So that's a crazy statistic already. His best win is against Wonder Boy, Jeff Neal, and Neil Magny. We're going to start seeing a lot of Neils and Magnys. Like, Ian Gary also beat Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, you know what I'm saying? So some of, like, Shavkat wins aren't aging the best, but he's still going in and finishing these guys, you know what I'm saying? So I'll give him credit there. Of course, his last finish against Wonder Boy, becoming the first one to submit Wonder Boy. I'm surprised Wonder Boy's never been submitted. Looking back at his career, he just never really went against anyone that's that great at grappling to Shavkat's level. So that's his credit to Shavkat. Had that unrelentless pace. He's always breaking these guys down. So Shavkat's, of course, going to fight for either interim belt on December or the undisputed belt sometime next year. So I'm gonna say he's already in the title picture. Do I think he's a future champion? Yes. Do I think he's gonna beat Bilal? Probably not. Do I think he's gonna beat Usman? Probably not. But he's still younger than them, so they're going to be long gone when he's a champion, in my opinion. So I do think Shavkat is a future champion. Just going to take a little bit longer than maybe most people anticipate. But Shavkat's still Shavkat, bro. 18 fights, 18 finishes. If you go in there every single fight and you're finishing people, you have to be good in some aspect. Like, he's good almost everywhere. Pretty good striking. His offensive wrestling's but he has really good grappling in BJJ. So, you know what I'm saying? We haven't really seen him defend takedowns that much because people don't really shoot on him, but I'm sure against Bilal Usman, we're going to see some of that. So I'm going to give Shavkat his credit. Very good fighting. He's very good at just breaking people with will and just great and just aura. So Shavkat Rakhmonov is a top 5 undefeated fighter in the UFC today for sure. Coming in at the number 4 spot, so you guys are wondering who's ahead of him. I actually got Movsar Evloev, and I know people are going to hate this because one guy's a finishing machine, the other guy's a decision machine. I really feel like Movsar beat the better people. You know, like I said, Shavkat beating Wonderboy, Neil, and Magny, that's cool. I think beating Arnold Allen, Diego Lopez, and Dan Ige are better than those 3. That's my opinion, you know what I'm saying? People might have mixed opinions. Diego Lopez is almost in the title picture, you know what I'm saying? Wonderboy, Neil, and Magny were nowhere near the title picture. Of course, Arnold Allen's also a great fighter. He only ever losing to the best, like fucking, you know, Max Holloway, etc., etc. So I give that's a good win. Dan Ige is also a good win, in my opinion, too. You know, he also beat Hakeem Dawodu. I don't know if I even said his last name right, but I remember Hakeem was running like a 6-fight win streak before fighting Movsar, and then Movsar went in there and kind of mopped him. So I do think Movsar has proved a lot. I know the decision shit gets people mad, but he's beating these guys over the course of the entire fight. Like he's showing his game plan and game style could work like throughout the whole fight, and he doesn't really fatigue, so I'll give him credit there. He's a really good wrestler. I think if anyone could beat Ilir Latifi, it's Movsar Evloev. I feel like stylistically he has the style to beat someone like Ilir Latifi. He's never lost, of course. The stylistic clash of making Ilir wrestle, it will open up a lot of opportunities for Movsar. Of course, we've seen Ilir get taken out by Bryce Mitchell, controlled by Bryce Mitchell. Movsar's a way better wrestler than him, and I think Movsar's also tougher than Bryce Mitchell and doesn't get chinned, you know what I'm saying? So Movsar, and he went against Lopez, so you can't even say Movsar had never been tested his chin. Lopez hits very hard. He ate some crazy punches from Diego Lopez. So I'm going to say I respect Movsar Evloev, and I feel like people are sleeping on the guy. So that's why I'm going to have him ahead of Shavkat, and I do think he could potentially be a future champion. Like, if anyone can stop this Ilir Latifi reign, it's probably Movsar, but it's still going to be a tough task to ask. Now we're in the top 3 undefeated fighters in the UFC, of course. In the number 3 spot, I got no other than Umar Norov. I do think he's a top 3 undefeated fighter, similar to Movsar and Shavkat. He's 18-0. Of course, his best wins against Corey Sandhagen. He also had that great win against Beksat, that Kazakhstani guy who was 11-1 before fighting Umar. That was a really competitive fight compared to the Corey Sandhagen fight. That Beksat guy is really good because the way Umar beat Corey Sandhagen was a lot more easier, 50-45 than compared to the Beksat fight. Beksat was, even though he lost every round, he showed some adversity he made Umar go through adversity. I think that's the guy who dropped Umar, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, he wasn't complacent on his back. When Umar was controlling him, he was trying to get up and buck up and all that stuff. But I do think Umar Norov is a future champion. It's a matter of time until Murad wants to give up the belt. Murad's like, brother, I don't want to fight this guy. This guy is a brother. He's coming, brother. Be careful. It's a matter of time. Like, I don't know. I hate when like Murad's like, nah, dude, it's just like, he's not cowabunga enough, dude. Like, bro, what are you talking about? He's did everything he had to do in the bantamweight division already. Like, people are going to cry about it because he got rewarded Corey Sandhagen for no reason, but he beat him 50-45. If you beat Corey Sandhagen 50-45, you're in for the title picture. It doesn't matter who's next, bro. He's saying people like fucking Figgy deserved it when Figgy beat fucking Cody Garbrandt and shit and Cheeto Vera. Do you know what Corey Sandhagen did to Cheeto Vera? He fucking destroyed him. And then fucking Umar destroyed Corey. So it's like, bro, just make it make sense. You know Umar's next. You can run and hide, but he's going to be a matter of time until he beats Murad. I do think he's going to beat Murad when they fight. But yeah, it's just a matter of Umar's a nasty fighter. He's one of the best on the planet. So I feel like he should be rewarded. And once he fights Murad, he will be champion. So I do think Umar Norov is a top 3 undefeated fighter in the UFC. Zuze. And now we're on the top 2 undefeated fighters. In the number 2 spot, I have to go with Khamzat Chimaev. He's 14-0. Already, their 14-0 record sounds like a little bit like smaller than all these other guys, but 14-0 with wins over Whitaker, Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, Kevin Holland, The Leech, GM3, all these guys. And the way he's beating them, like the way he beat Whitaker, you've never seen Whitaker go out like that, bro. Whitaker went out like he has a 50-year-old hairline or some shit. He was getting ragdolled, like bad ragdolled. And he broke his fucking bottom row off of fucking a face crank. This dude's crazy. The way he ragdolled Usman in the first round never happens. I know the Gilbert Burns fights, I feel like it was a wake-up call for him because he respected Gilbert Burns' ground game and not his ground game to a point where like he actually let Burns up. He never made that mistake after that, and he started dominating people. He showed that he has power against GM3, putting him to sleep. You know, the way he ragdolled Leech, the way he ragdolled Holland. Looking back at that fight, Holland did really good trying to defend. It's just that Hamza's grappling is that good, so he can roll with him. But yeah, anyone else would never have done that to Kevin Holland. He would have rolled out of there and been out easy. But Hamza's just a different beast. So I feel like Hamza needs to be appreciated because he's a generational talent. I think he's ahead of the generation as far as grappling is concerned. Look at his grappling. Look at Khabib's. Look at anyone else's. Hamza does it better in a crazy way. Like, he does it better in the first round than anyone I've ever seen in my life in the grappling department, from Khabib to Islam to anyone. His just pace and his relentlessness in his grappling and wrestling, I've never seen it. It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like, if I'm fighting Hamza and I'm like, the round start, I'm like, I'll be scared as shit, bro. I'll probably jump over that octagon. I ain't fighting that long hair, no neck having dude, bro. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't put myself in that compromised position. That boy will ragdoll me badly, so I'm not gonna do something stupid like that. So I feel bad for anyone who has to fight Khamzat. And I do think it's a matter of time until he's champion. I do love DDP. I don't want DDP to fight him because he's probably gonna lose. But when they fight, I do have Hamza probably going in there and whooping his ass. So Hamza, I don't want him to fight any of my favorite fighters. Don't fight Izzy. Don't fight DDP. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from those guys. Other than that, run through the division. Now, jokes aside, I do think he's gonna fight for the title next over Strickland. Because Strickland, who the fuck is that nigga? So yeah, Strickland versus Whitaker, Hamza versus DDP. Let's make it happen. Let's wrestle. Let's wrestle. Which leaves the #1 spot of no other than Ilir Latifi. Yeah, fucking weasel. Yeah, Ilir Latifi is obviously the #1 spot. 16-0. Back-to-back wins against Holloway and Volkanovski. That's fucking crazy. Also beat Bryce Mitchell by submission. Beat Josh Emmett over the course of 5 rounds. Beat Jai Herbert and beat Youssef Zala. And that win just keeps aging well because he just had a great performance like a couple days ago. So Ilir Latifi's resume is not only aging well, but it's just one of the best resumes I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, he's just really good at what he does. He's a really good striker. He's beating the best strikers in that division, so there's no argument who the best boxer is. Like I've been saying before the fight, I was saying how Ilir is already a way better boxer, you know what I'm saying? So he showed levels against Max Holloway. He showed level against Volk. He showed level against Mitchell, level against Josh Emmett. Like I said, the people he beat and knocking out, like he knocked out Jai Herbert, great striker. Zala, great striker. You know, Max Holloway, Volk, they're all great strikers. Bryce Mitchell, he submitted, but Bryce Mitchell did show great wrestling. Like he showed that Topuria could struggle in the wrestling department, which is why I point back to the Movsar and say Movsar's probably the only one who could beat him in that division. Because if you're gonna go in there and try to stand with him like Diego Lopez probably is, he's gonna get knocked out. Like you're not gonna outbox Ilir. He's a better boxer, more technical, and carries more power. So I feel like Ilir Latifi is the best undefeated fighter in the UFC today, maybe even in UFC history. He's one of those crazy undefeated fighters. You know, people like Islam would be like #1 on this list, but unfortunately he has that fluke loss where he got knocked out by Martins. He never got knocked out. That was AI generated, and he was trying to get up anyways. He wasn't even knocked out cold. But that's besides the point. Ilir Latifi out of every undefeated fighter, probably the best, definitely the best in the UFC today, and probably the best of all time. So that is my list, bro. Let me know how y'all feel about these rankings. I feel like I cooked, bro. Y'all can say what you want. This list is very accurate, like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is the only correct list. Anyone with any other list is fucking wrong, bro. So that's it for me. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and God bless. 2, 3.